Okay, Travis Wingoodsell. It's the afternoon time here in Utah, and just had a break from the projects I was working on, so I thought I'd check and see how my morning's videos were doing. And the third one on LDS Church Stats exposes its collapse is double the amount of the other two. So it's the other two combined plus an extra 2. Just like the Russian stats on the numbers in the number of wards per stake. Alright, so yeah, I was trying to think about what kind of video should I make next, if I should even make a video, if I should just do something that rambles on, tell you about my childhood as an LDS boy, born and raised in the LDS Church, to alt-right, white supremacist Mormon parents of privilege and some level of wealth, because we always lived in suburban homes, brand new suburban homes, the new housing developments. And that's all I've known. When we moved to Michigan first, as a 2- and 3-year-old kid, we apparently moved into a 1-story house that was used. It wasn't brand new, but soon thereafter, my dad upgraded us to the 2-story with a basement there in Canton, Michigan. And then Placentia, that was a single level home, and I think it was an older neighborhood house, because all the houses were around it, and I did a report on Placentia there in elementary school at Sierra Vista, and it's an older town. All right, so yeah, I thought about doing that, but the other videos where I talk about myself, nobody seems to be interested. You know, how am I not alt-right, not Mormon anymore, though technically I am, and why I'm not white supremacist? You'd think people would want to know this, especially sociologists. How is it possible? You know, and I can talk about Stan Lowry and the incident that happened with him, and Titus Campbell. So, yeah. Oh well, but yeah, it's good to see that there were 5 likes and no thumbs down on that one. It's difficult for Mormons to know what to think about this, because it's the church's own statistics, and all you have to do is analyze the statistics to realize what the church is claiming and what's the reality are not meshing. So it's good to see people are recognizing that, and I worded it in a manner to get a good jump on the attention. So the other ones, I don't know, guys. Breaking news. LDS breaking news. That's a bombshell. The church is directly involved. But nobody cares. Alright, and then I thought Trump murdering LDS Mormons the other day. You know, I thought that would be a good one. But apparently not. However, my Calvin and Hobbes got a thumbnail with LDS church leaders and members deceive world and themselves. That's doing fairly well. It's not going too fast, but it's an average slow speed, unlike the others that get a couple dozen and then they die. The one I did 2 days ago, LDS Church President Nelson is not a CEO, is a missionary, not a CEO. People are coming to that one, not as fast, but they're coming to it. It's over 100. So, I mean, Mormons, you know this. You know we're supposed to be a lay ministry. The church says we're a lay ministry, yet the leaders of the church, as you can see from the thumbnail, they're getting paid. And yeah, I mean, they have businesses, but it's the church. It's not supposed to be a corporation, even though they filed with the state of Utah as a sole corporation. So they can't go around claiming their religion if they go and file a sole corporation status. You know, they're not real missionaries. It's not the church that Joseph organized. But that's how they justify not giving to the poor. And then 3 days ago, I had hopes for the attempt to try to show that the church is not taking care of the poor, that they're all about the money. They want money. That's priestcraft. Mormons know priestcraft. So those videos are dying. So, you know, and I guess growing up in the household that I talked about, the white supremacists, alt-right, Mormon, you know, I heard the arguments from my parents as a kid. You know, we took a tour one time of Northern California, where we used to live, where I was born, and the apartment in Oakland. We drove by it, and I remember my mom talking about it either before we went or after. I think it was after, because she was retrospecting what she saw as a result of that trip. That when they first moved in, it was a newer place and white. But now, blacks and Mexicans are there, and it's a dump. And so she thought that Mexicans and blacks were the cause of it being a dump, rather than it became a dump because of the white people living there, and thus the property value decreased enough so that blacks and Mexicans could pay for it. Never occurred to her, but it doesn't to white supremacists, alt-rights. Man, I got itchy nose with these stupid hairs. It pisses me off. So I tried one of those nose clippers, the electric nose clippers, and that didn't work out too well. Okay, so yeah. And my mom, she thinks that she's less racist than her parents. Because her parents didn't want her dating the Polynesians while she was at BYU Hawaii. So she could only marry the drunken sailors. Or not marry, date the drunken sailors. I'm going to have to pause and deal with this if it keeps bugging me. Alright, so LDS Church President Nelson pollutes celestial kingdom of God with the temple changes. That's fizzling out after 4 days, over 100. And then LDS Church President Nelson stops teaching Mormons about Jesus Christ. That's died after getting over 100. The rise of LDS Church President Nelson. That's been picking up. It was a slow start, but now it's picking up. I'm going to pause. Alright, I'm back. Back in black. Back for the attack. Alright, then we had some bombs. You know, stand and fight against LDS church abuse and bullying. Nobody's interested in that. The LDS church President Nelson takes church into apostasy. That died at 100. And here I thought would be an awesome one, especially with the thumbnail picture of a cute little baby and a puppy, because everybody else who puts baby and puppy videos get millions of views. Now, I do one with a thumbnail and nobody's interested, but it's 167 now. It's slowly been picking up. I'm not answering it because I mentioned to my neighbor about the church information about the statistics, and also about how the FDA is no longer working. So, you know, people are not able to buy food, and those who are able to buy food, it may be tainted now, and we may get poisoned with the, remember the, not too long ago, the romaine lettuce scandal with the tainted lettuce, and so we're going to have more of that now. And that's what I'm concerned about, is that with Trump shutting down all these government services, including TSA, where nobody's checking for bombs and explosives and knives and weapons, we're going to have another 9/11. It'll be huge, as Trump says. Biggest ever. And yeah, we'll have terrorists entering into our country from Canada rather than Mexico, because he's got Mexico under control. They're all coming in from Canada, apparently. And so, yeah, they'll just sneak into Canada and, oh, Trump is allowing us to do massive murders. So, yeah, well, you know, it's Saudi Arabia again, because they did it in 9/11, even though other countries were blamed. The truth is, it was Saudi Arabia. They were paid to do it by us. So that was a big scandal. And still nobody fully understands and has done the research on it, despite all of the problems with the physics that were involved. And so yeah, I'm fully expecting, if people don't riot, because I can't imagine how America can be so apathetic that they would allow themselves to be tortured. You know, we're being poisoned with food, with water, with the land, with the air. We're being poisoned. And we just take it. We have an authoritarian government. You know, I was thinking about doing a video about how the Utah government, here we go again, you know, the Utah government violates the Constitution with the system of government that we have here in alt-right Utah, alt-right white supremacist Utah. And so, you know, yeah, I mean, my story is one where I did a sting on the Utah government to confirm that my suspicions that we are in violation of the Constitution and that the whole system is corrupt. I had to find out. The only way to do that was to be the sacrificial lamb. So I lost getting my kids, so I had nothing to lose. My life was over. So I put it to the test, and sure enough, government fell for it. Almost as if they were waiting for any excuse to do it. And they did it. And lost 6 years of my life without being found guilty of any crime. Complete violation of all constitutional laws. So that's what we're going to have under Trump. Utah was the test model for it. And so, yeah, I'm fully expecting, if if America still will not rise up and riot. You know, during the civil rights movement, people rioted. They wanted freedom. They wanted liberty. They wanted life. They wanted property. And so they fought for it from a government that refused to give it to them as their inalienable right. It's right there in the Constitution. Everybody, not white supremacists alone, everybody has the right to life, liberty, and property. And I watch all the cop shows. You know, Blue Bloods is the one I'm watching. I watched the one this morning from last night, and I'm trying to catch up on the series itself. And yeah, I mean, I love the actors. They're great. Tom Selleck, great. I have his Magnum PI that I'm converting, and but every cop show, every legal show, it's all about how to justify violating the Constitution. And 24 with Kiefer Sutherland. I love Kiefer Sutherland's acting. He's great. You know, he has some no-name movies that went straight to DVD, and those are awesome. And yet not too many people know about those. But it's all about violating the Constitution in 24. You know, we have terrorism. It's an imminent threat. We have to violate these people's lives, violate their liberty, violate their property in order to save the world. If the United States had been following the Constitution from the beginning, we wouldn't be in a situation where we would be forced to violate the Constitution in order to save people's lives. The reason why we have to violate the Constitution from terrorist threats is because we've never been following it. So yes, I really would like to do videos on that, and I tried to do those in a video series, but nobody was interested. So like I said, nobody cares about my life, nobody cares about my views. So I find the one that people are interested in, and that's the Mormon perspective, which is wrong. And I use the Mormon scriptures, the Mormon prophets' quotes, the Mormons' practices, the Mormons' rituals, the Mormons' doctrine, the Mormons' theology, to show them it's wrong. Not from my view, but my view is how I'm able to recognize it. So yeah, I can go straight into the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon says you're supposed to do this and believe this and blah, blah, blah. So what's up, Mormons? So the stats. It's the Mormon stats. They keep the stats. All one has to do is examine the stats. And the church is keeping it all a secret. All right, and so then my big one in this recent period of time is, and for a long period of time, this was like the breakthrough one. This was like the book that makes it big. It's like my Hebrew books. Yeah, LDS Church President Nelson changes temple text, still gets it wrong. But the funny thing is even though I'm over 2,000, I've got 32 thumbs down and only 13 thumbs up. That's funny. And so, yeah, my one about the family. Oh man, it took me back to the top. Where is it? Yeah, the one about the family. I'm almost at 1,000. The temple text changes the family unit structure theology in the LDS Church, and I've got a higher number of thumbs down on that one as well. Not as great a division, but yeah, at least I'm getting some support on that one from some people encouraging me not to be discouraged. I can assure all of you, I'm not interested in thumbs down, thumbs up stuff. I only use it to illustrate how Mormons are so full of hate. Because it's the Mormons putting the thumbs down. Man. And so, yeah, it only serves to prove my point. So Mormons, yeah, go ahead. Go crazy on the thumbs down. They only allow you one at a time, but it's collapsed church, guys. You really want to go down in flames, screaming and yelling at me, blaming me? Okay, if you want to give me all the credit for destroying the church, I'll take it. Travis Wayne Goodsell destroys the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. How did he do it? We don't know, but we gave him a thumbs down. So, yeah, and I was really, I saw the apple on the banana picture, and I knew I had to put that in there. So, yeah, one person appreciated that. But, Mormons, you can't change the reality of things. You can't make a new word for it. That's what my mom did. That's what my dad did. So I already knew about that as a kid. You can't change the definition. And then when I took a literature class in my senior year, because I needed to have the class in order to graduate, I'd taken a whole bunch of electives, and so yeah, I was forced to take the more difficult classes at my senior year. Not the brightest move on my part, but I was bored. School was boring. I don't like memorizing. That's all it is. It's memorizing. I'm not learning anything. And so in the literature class, I learned about Shakespeare, and the rose by any other name would smell so sweet. So, and I was really hoping my Seeds of Ex-Mormonism, again, that was the video about me, and nobody cares. So, all right, and then I've done this. I know the causal problems with the church, not the symptom problems. And I'm trying to get that through to people, and nobody cares. I know I'm not wording it right, I guess, on the title. Don't fall for the Mormon Rorschach test. You know what a Rorschach test is, don't you? It's, Batman in that movie, and the, I can't remember the actress's name. I can see her, but I can't remember her name. She's a psychiatrist, and she's got a Rorschach test of what Batman, in the disguise of Bruce Wayne, he goes in, sees that, oh, a bat. Oh, that's a Rorschach test. That's interesting that you would call that a bat. It's a psychological trap. They purposely design it so that you would be categorized according to what you think it is. The only answer that is correct is not the psychiatrist's answers, and it's not anything you come up with other than it is ink on paper. That's the only correct answer. So it's a trap, people. They're trying to put you into a category of a problem. So that's it. All the runs previous to this weren't really that big of a deal, and they're all dying out from where they were. So yeah, so this is just a little update, and I probably won't give it a fancy title, so nobody will come and watch this video. So yeah, but I'm expecting a terrorist attack. It may not. I'm orange because I'm not fully lighting this thing. That's the end of the video, so what does it matter now? Alright, so yeah, a terrorist attack because you know, we don't have security anymore in our nation. Trump is allowing free-for-all into America. You want to destroy America? Come on in. We're having a party. Kill Americans. And our food's being poisoned now because nobody's inspecting it. That's what happens. You know, they won't check to make sure that there are mice and silverfish. Because I remember as a kid in Placentia, opening up a new box of Rice Krispies and silverfish inside the box. Brand new box, newly opened, silverfish, dead. Turned me off of Rice Krispies altogether. So fortunately, Lucky Charms is never giving me that kind of a trauma, and it still remains my favorite cereal to this day. But man, so it's gonna get bad, people. I'm still orange. What the? What's going on? All right, so yeah, I gotta turn my computer or laptop around so the lighting's different because it's the middle of the day now. Oh, it's almost 1. All right, so yeah, I'm at 30 minutes. All right, so yeah, if America doesn't riot, terrorists will attack, and then Trump will declare martial law, and we're all doomed. So it's a good thing we have Jeff Bezos' divorce to distract us. Mrs. Bezos is now a $66 billion heir. Oh, man. Okay, well,